from 2007 under the FEMA Act, intended to fund road maintenance. Also reacting, Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, said no date has been fixed for implementation. He noted that the surcharge, when applied, will be carefully timed to minimize inflationary impact and that funds will be dedicated strictly to road infrastructure. Both officials stressed that the government's priority is to strengthen tax governance, block leakages, and ease compliance, not to worsen the burden on Nigerians.
The Federal Inland Revenue Service has unveiled a new initiative called the Wall of Knowledge, designed to deepen tax awareness and promote voluntary compliance. The Wall of Knowledge, launched by the Taxpayer Service Department at the FRS headquarters in Abuja, showcases key tax information in a simple and accessible way. Ejura Itu Okpanachi has the report.
Unveiled recently, the Wall of Knowledge features highlights from the Nigerian Tax Act, the Tax Administration Act, the FIRS Establishment Act, and the Joint Revenue Board Act. It also provides insights into ongoing reforms, including e-invoicing for large taxpayers. The initiative is aimed at promoting tax awareness, empowering staff and taxpayers with accurate information, and supporting the service's drive for improved voluntary compliance. The Wall of Knowledge is expected to serve as a permanent visual tool across the corridors of the department, keeping staff and visitors informed on Nigeria's tax laws and reforms.
And that's a wrap on the news segment. Let's join Mariam on the Vox Pop segment.
Hello and welcome to the segment of the program. My name is Mariam Julie Adura. Today we'll be looking at tax investigation and the factors that trigger such an investigation. We are on the streets of Surulere, Lagos. Come along with me. What is tax investigation and what are factors that trigger a tax investigation?
Okay, we can say that tax investigation is an in-depth analysis or review into the financial records of companies with a view to unraveling or trying to find out if the triggers you previously had in mind are actually true or not. Such triggers could be consistent reporting of losses over several years, a company making losses and still in operation. What we need to find out, why are they making it? And then for companies that have not been audited for 6 years, 7 years and upwards, such companies need to be investigated. And non-filers too, a company who is into business and has refused to file needs to be investigated.
One of the triggers of tax investigation is evasion. And in the tax office, where there's arbitrary turnover, sometimes there's arbitrary loss, returns, when they are filing their returns and there's arbitrary loss, it can trigger tax investigation. It's seen that a company has, for example, change in accounting date often, or the company has been in a situation where they have been firing key management staff in the organization, it can trigger investigation. And we also have whistleblowers. Someone can, inform FIRS.
Tax investigation is like an in-depth examination into the company financial affairs with a view, of unraveling some kind of predetermined trigger that you have already had, in mind or you have been informed about. And some of these triggers are the obvious, reporting of losses. A company continually report loss, and as a result of that, it can be referred for investigation. And sometimes referral cases maybe in the tax office, they have continual problems with a particular taxpayer. Then we need to also refer such cases for investigation.
Please, ma'am, what is tax investigation and what are the factors that trigger a tax investigation?
Okay, tax investigation is a type of audit. However, for you to be investigated as a taxpayer, that means there must have been a trigger that your accounts are not up to date or your records are not in order, and that is usually referred to the department by the FIRS management. You can't just go to tax investigation. So there are various triggers for tax investigation. Other taxpayers can refer a company, probably it had deducted withholding tax and from them, and it didn't remit, and they need that withholding tax to offset their account. That's one of the triggers that a company can be investigated. Another trigger is probably maybe the industry-wide, because I know recently, not so recent, the telecommunications industry were investigated because they found out that one of the clients or the taxpayer had been paying more than the others.
Did you know tax investigation may be carried out where fraud and deliberate false declarations are suspected? For more information, please visit www.firs.gov.ng.
Ashu Abe takes us on the Knowledge Zone.
Hello and welcome to Knowledge Zone, where we shed more light on interesting conversations earlier had on the streets. I remain your host, Ashu Abe. In this episode, we'll be talking about tax investigation. Tax investigation is an in-depth investigation process by a tax authority in order to recover tax undercharged in previous years of assessments. Tax investigations may be carried out where fraud and deliberate false declarations are suspected. An investigation is much more detailed than an audit. Tax investigation may be carried out where fraud and deliberate false declarations are suspected. Tax investigation is much more detailed than a tax audit, where some of the techniques adopted in audits and investigations may be the same. Investigations are conducted with the intention to legally prosecute and sanction more severely.
And now to our professional insight segments.
We were created to manage and coordinate the relationships between FIRS and its key stakeholders, right? And in that, I see the purpose of this collaboration by way of projecting the image of the service favorably, and thereby creating a positive perception of the service in the public domain. So basically, we are the face of the service, yeah? And that whatever we do must be that we are, okay, portraying the service favorably out there. Nobody wants to see the taxman. It is the tradition that people see the taxman like some police officer, like some enforcement agent. Of course we do enforcement. We do enforcement, know that. We enforce some kind of rule, some kind of regulation. Okay, but we want to, and that's why I like the paradigm shift from enforcement to voluntary compliance. So when you see the taxman, do not see him as somebody who has come to merely enforce some rule. No, see him as somebody who is a partner in progress, someone who has come to say, hey, come, let's cooperate. Let us see the payment of taxes as a bounden duty, a civic responsibility. And so it is the role of the Intergovernmental Relations Department to ensure that that kind of synergy, that kind of cooperation, that kind of engagement is possible, is achievable. So that's basically what Intergovernmental Relations Department does. One of the primary responsibilities of the IGRD is to collaborate very closely with the National Assembly. We've done this effectively over the past 1 year. And you know that there are quite a number of activities that we do in the FIRS, which have a lot to do with engaging with the National Assembly. There's the House and Senate committees on finance, on public accounts. These are the two most relevant, and we've had numerous engagements with them. Now, if I put this in context, the 4 tax laws that have been, tax bills that have been signed into law recently and also gazetted, were activities, that we started at some point. Intergovernmental Relations Department had a lot to do, in that process, where the lawmakers on these 2 committees especially were engaged, in the course of, developing, if you like, the bills, in all the processes that, were taken, all the procedures, that were in place to ensure that we have the laws as they are today. The department was involved in every, stage. The National Assembly is one body, of course, that we engage with, and I'm saying that the one result, to always look at and be proud that you've done something worth mentioning is that we were very relevant, important in that process that has led to the bills that we have today, the laws that we have today. So we've had a lot of interagency engagements over the past 1 year. Interagency meetings, joint projects. And what we do basically is to say those things about the service, that will promote trust, which is very important. As I said earlier, many people view the taxman as somebody you can't trust, and that is because of the work he does. The taxman is like a messenger, and that's why I said the most important stakeholder in the work that we do is the government. Is the government. If the government gives you a target today and you're not able to collect, to meet that target at the end of the day, you're likely to be queried, like that. The taxpayer is important, but I'm saying that the government is, for me, your number 1 priority. You have to meet the target that the government has given you. Now, IGRD plays a role there, because if there is, apathy, to tax revenue collection, there's a tendency that the work of the taxman becomes even more difficult. But if there's cooperation, if there's voluntary compliance, which will come as a result of intensive advocacy, consistent advocacy that talks about how important paying taxes is, then you're likely to have people, who will voluntarily comply. People are talking about cooperative compliance, which goes beyond voluntary compliance. Now that happens only if, okay, the taxpayer is in tune, with that maxim that says paying taxes is a bounden duty on every citizen. Well, how do you create that trust? That's the question. There has to be a department, okay, that is responsible, okay, for managing, okay, that relationship between the service and the taxpayer. But I tell you that IGRD, since its creation in April or in March of 2024, has been playing that role.
One or two.
Okay, there's a collaboration with the Nigeria Governors Forum. There's the education initiative by the forum where IGRD was involved, and we made a case for the teaching of taxation, okay, in primary and secondary schools, just so that from that level, students at the primary and secondary school levels are aware, okay, of what taxation is. The taxpayer education is something we must take very seriously. And once you begin from that level, okay, like catching them young, okay, it becomes very easy for such people, okay, to voluntarily comply when they have to pay taxes later in life. And we have also been involved in the design and development of curricula or curriculums at the university level, BSc, Masters, and PhD. Okay? This started many years ago, but of course, Intergovernmental Relations Department is picking up the gauntlet. Okay? We're trying to project this even more forcibly, or forcefully, if you like, to ensure that taxation is taught, okay, vigorously, okay, at all levels of education. So yeah, the NGF initiative is one, and there's also the initiative with some CSOs, okay, some civil society organizations, where we have met, particularly those who have an interest in what we do, okay. We have shared some vital information with them, and the purpose is, of course, to project taxation, to do aggressive taxpayer education, okay, to the public. When we say that we're committed to fair tax administration through responsive and accessible service to optimize revenue for national development, if we say that, then there are things we must also do, yeah, now and in the future, okay, to meet that. Now, if our mandate is also to assess, collect, and account for revenue accruing to the Nigerian Federation and administer relevant tax laws, there are things we must also do, okay, now and in the future to ensure that, okay, we are always in tune with that mandate. So what IGRD does, always we take inspiration from those key communications, okay, and we're able to define our future based on those. Those communications tell us what to do at every point. And I speak about IGRD and where I want us to be in the future. Those are my inspiration, right? Yeah, to do those things that will make us achieve those key communications.
Over to Swateku for What's on the Net.
Good day and welcome to What's on the Net. My name is Joyce Swateku. Therese Bliss is asking, please, I need someone to teach me more about business taxes. I registered my CAC already and my team is validated according to my CAC plug. I'm starting my business this month or next, and I want to know how to calculate and when to pay for my tax or team.
In Nigeria, business owners must pay taxes only after their companies begin operations and start earning income. In FIRS, company income tax is filed 6 months after the end of a company's first financial year. Value-added tax at 7.5% is filed monthly by the 21st, while small businesses earning 25 million naira or less are exempt. It is advised that new businesses keep proper records, use the FIRS e-tax portal for filing, and seek guidance from tax professionals to ensure compliance. Afolabi Oyeyemi is asking, what is the process of obtaining tax exemption printout for NGO at FIRS? The Federal Inland Revenue Service recently stopped the issuance of tax exemption certificates and advised all NGOs to apply for tax clearance certificates. Over to you, Laurie.
Thank you, Swat, for that beautiful segment. That's it for today on Tax File. I hope you learned something new. Join us on social media to share your thoughts. I am Laurie Bala Hassan. Stay compliant and keep watching Tax File. FIRS, simplifying tax, maximizing revenue.
One thing is certain. If you stick to the word, you will